Councillors, can I have your attention, please? Welcome to tonight's council meeting. Unfortunately, Councillor Springfield is unwell and cannot be with us here this evening. So as Deputy Mayor, I will be chairing tonight's meeting and I declare the meeting open. We will commence the meeting with the following reflection. I would ask those gathered to join us now for a few moments of silence as we reflect on our roles in this chamber. Please use this opportunity for reflection, prayer or thought, to focus on our shared intention to work respectfully together for the well-being of our whole community. Thank you. The Cardinia Shire Council respectfully acknowledges that we are on the traditional land of the Bunurong and the Wurundjeri people and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Apologies. As mentioned, Councillor Springfield is an apology as well as Councillor Davies tonight, and we wish them both well very soon. Can I have a motion, please, to adopt the minutes of the previous meetings as listed? Mover, Councillor Moore, and seconder, Councillor Ryan. All those in favour? Thank you. Declarations of interest. Councillors, are there any declarations of interest? No? Thank you. Okay, we will begin with our ordinary business. The Council conducts its meetings according to a consent agenda. Councillors have advised of the matters for consideration this evening that they wish to discuss or debate. The remaining items will be adopted without discussion. The items withdrawn for tonight's proceedings are as follows. Item 6.3.3, Amendment to Councillor Travel Expenses Claim Form, withdrawn by Councillor Kowalczyk.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and I wish you all the best in your role as Chair tonight. I move the following. That Council adopt the attached amended Travel Expenses Claim Form and amend the Councillor Expenses Policy accordingly to meet the recommendation of the Local Government Inspectorate.
Thank you, Councillor Kowalczyk. May I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Ryan. I'll go to the speaker, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Ryan, for your second. As a result of a recent investigation regarding travel expenses and claims, the Local Government Inspectorate has made some recommendations to Cardinia Shire Council regarding its travel expenses claim forms. I want to thank our Deputy Mayor, Councillor Radford, for her interest and work in this space, as well as our governance team and officers for suggesting appropriate amendments that I hope will be formally adopted tonight. In response to the recommendations from the LGI, the current claim for travel expenses form will be amended to include a section that 1. Requires a councillor to clearly state how the expense was incurred whilst undertaking their duties as a councillor. 2. Requires odometer readings to be placed on the form at the start and end of the journey. 3. Requires the councillor to record the start and finish time of the journey. And 4. Requires the councillor to state where the journey commenced. Fundamentally, this is about good governance practices and on the back of the recommendations from the LGI, strengthening the travel expenses claim form. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kowalczyk. The seconder to speak, please, Councillor Ryan.
I'll reserve my right. Thank you, Mayor. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Any other speakers, please? Yes, Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Chair. I'd thank you, Councillor Kowalczyk, for raising this item, and I know you've raised it for Councillor Radford. Look, anything that we can do, I think, that shows transparency within our governance rules, I'm all for. And I think these changes, these additional changes to the claim form, I applaud actually, because I think that we should have them up on site, and we should be able to check, and I've got no hesitation to fill the form out in my regard. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Are there any other speakers, please? There being none, I'll move to our seconder, Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm in support of the recommendations that Council adopt the travel expenses claim form and amend the councillor expenses policy according to meet the recommendations of the local government inspectorate. This has been a while coming. I think with all the things that went on in reference to councillors not filling in forms and being, sometimes there can be confusion within the community. And the community has also voiced that they would like to see the things that we do. They're always interested in some ways checking up on us to make sure that we're following through with some of the events that we go to. And I think it's really important that we can show them that. The recommendations from the local government inspectorate, I think what they've recommended has been a great recommendation, and I think the new forms really have covered everything. So from the start, you've got the date that you are going to an event, the reason why you're going to the event, if there's any other parties that are attending, and what action, why you were there, what sort of things happened, and your destination, and your travelling distance. And I think that's really, really important that we cover all that, and that way we can never, ever fall into the mistake that we had made, that of accusations that weren't there to be any breaches. So I think from now on, I think it will cover all the councillors and their travelling, and also I think the community will be very, very happy to see that we are committing to what I'm trying to think of the word. I've gone a blank tonight, and it's a Monday night. It shouldn't be a blank. I do apologise. I just believe that it's a really, really good form for us to fill and keep a logbook as well. So I'll leave it at there, Mayor, but I agree with the recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. I'll go back to the mover to sum up, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you also to my fellow councillors, Councillor Moore and Councillor Ryan, for your comments. The changes, as suggested in the report, appear to be fairly obvious in their necessity and come on the back, as mentioned, of recommendations from the local government inspectorate. Just want to thank council officers for their work in this space, and I hope my fellow councillors will vote to ratify these changes.
Thank you, Councillor Kowalczyk. So I would like to ask all those in favour, please raise your hands. All those against? So we declare carried. Thank you. Our second item is item 6.4.1, Mercury Vapour Street Lighting Replacement Project, Materials Procurement. That was a tricky word. Withdrawn tonight by Councillor Owen.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I move the following. The Council delegate authority to the CEO to enter into agreements to purchase an estimated 1.6 million of materials for the Mercury Vapour Street Lighting Replacement Project through the MAV procurement process.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. May I have a seconder, please? Councillor Kowalczyk, thank you. Oh, sorry, mover to speak.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So Mercury Vapour Street Lighting. Traditionally, this has been the main source of street lighting in Cardinia. And we've, over a number of years, we've had a program to upgrade this older type Mercury Vapour street lighting to more energy efficient and more effective lighting. So the current program leaves approximately 1,900 lights still to be upgraded out of a total of 10,000. Mercury vapour is the use of mercury vapour street lighting is a risk to human environment health, and a convention called the Minamata Convention bans mercury vapour lighting and makes them unserviceable. So that was a recent convention from last year, I believe. So AusNet requires council to replace lights and will provide some funding assistance to do so. Replacements will save on maintenance and operational costs. Replacements will change the look of some lights, and obviously communications with the residents will be planned, but replacements also have other benefits such as improving lighting to reduce crime, which is really good. Mercury vapour lighting is not good in lighting up open spaces particularly, so this upgrade will also have crime prevention benefits. So Council will fund this to a degree of $912,000. That funding will be assisted by other funding from other organisations and government. So that includes AusNet services, local roads and community infrastructure funding, LRCI Round 3, which is a federal government funding stream. Also the Victorian Energy Efficiency Certificates. So that amounts up to $2.2 million. As I said, Council's allocation of 912 will be coming from various line items within the budget. So that is Council's contribution. So I'm really extremely pleased about this upgrade. This has been a long time coming, as in completion of this program. To upgrade 10,000 lights over a number of years is a great outcome. So I look forward to these final lights being upgraded. As I mentioned before, there will be some lighting that will look a little bit different, as in the lanterns or the light form may look a bit different, colours may be a little bit different, but there will be consultation with affected residents explaining the upgrade and why it's required. So I look forward to that. I move so. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. I'll move to the seconder to speak, Councillor Kowalczyk.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to second this item tonight to show my support for what I think is a really great initiative. Councillor Owen has outlined a lot of the detail contained in the report, but I just wanted to highlight the fact that street lighting electricity is shifting to a 100% renewable energy contract from the 1st of July 2022. So the energy used will not generate carbon emissions, which is fantastic. Councillor Owen also mentioned the overall safety benefits this can bring by replacing inefficient dim lights with new, brighter LED alternatives. From an injury prevention perspective, as well as a crime prevention perspective, that's absolutely fantastic. The external funding currently available means that it makes sense for Cardinia to complete the transition away from Mercury Vapour streetlights as soon as is possible. The fact that the use of the Mercury has negative impacts on human health and the environment, and also that this old technology is no longer a viable option as it gets phased out, is also a really critical part of this project. And of course, this project does strongly align with a number of existing council policies, including our sustainable environment policy. So I see this as a really big win. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kowalczyk. I now ask if there are any other speakers. Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Chair. Look, I agree with my fellow councillors here. Thank you for raising these items tonight. Councillor Owen in particular, and Councillor Kowalczyk for seconding this such. Look, there are many advantages to this, not only the health reasons and the safety reasons as well as there's believed to be $143,000 per annum savings of just the energy costs and the maintenance costs of having LEDs. We know in our own houses itself, LEDs are the new light and they're the light to have. And when you're going to change a light over, you change it over to LED only because of the efficiency of the lighting power. So I agree wholeheartedly, and I'll be certainly voting a plus for this. And of course, having the CEO's delegate authority to purchase the said items, because of course what one of the major things that goes with it as well is AusNet will not service these Mercury Vapour lights anymore. So therefore, it's mandatory actually to change them over. We've got no choice, but fortunately, we've got the funding to allow this to happen and won't affect our bottom line. But thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Are there any other speakers? Councillor Ross.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you for withdrawing this item. I must say this is really amazing how far our council's come over the last 13 or 14 years. I can remember when we first put in our very first street light which was energy saving. It was interesting at the time we had 7 councillors. Only 2 believed in climate change and actually having a responsibility to the environment. And the only way you could get anything through back then was talk to them about saving money. So we said, if we spend this much money, over time we'll save this much money, and that's why we should do it. I think it's amazing now that through council on council, we even have in our policies, which they tried to get rid of at the time, when you read down climate change, climate emergency consideration, talking about, we're going to go to 100% renewable energy. It talks about using less energy than what we used in the past. And these sort of considerations, and being good corporate citizens in Cardinia Shire, which I'm sure the community has changed their views on. This is a really good thing. I think it's great that we acknowledge this and we've moved on. And I must say, anything like this, I think now we're a council who does view things in light of trying to improve things all the time. And as we've seen here, you can actually save money by improving things as well. So anyway, I look forward to seeing other of these initiatives. I know council have got a policy where we're trying to go to zero emissions by a certain date, which we're trying to do on all of our buildings where we have solar panels put on the roof and things like that. So therefore, we'll be sourcing our power through those things. Anyway, I say this is really good. I'm glad to see this, and I'm glad to see my fellow councillors get excited about this stuff as well, rather than not get excited at all and just see it only as a money-making, profiteering thing. Anyway, thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Do we have any other speakers? Thank you. I'll move back to the mover to sum up, Councillor Owen.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you to all councillors for your positive feedback to this item. Just in conclusion, as per the report, whilst the replacement of Mercury Vapour street lighting is mandatory, significant external funding support is available to assist with council's implementation. The project will provide numerous benefits, and the external funding available also makes it financially attractive to council. Providing the CEO delegated authority for the purchase of replacement materials will help to keep this project progressing towards a successful outcome. So the report does outline that it's a 6-year period of payback of council's investment. So 6 years, we're back at zero, and we make those savings every year after we've paid off our investment. So it will be an ongoing return. Also, this project will be completed in this year. It has to be completed this year. So we look forward to it being completed by the end of this year. I move so. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. So we'll vote. All those in favour, raise your hands. Thank you. Against? I declare that carried. Thank you. Our next item is 6.3.1, extension of short-term recycling processing contract. This item tonight is withdrawn by Councillor Kowalczyk.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I move the following. That Council approve the novation, extension and pricing for contract 19/35 for the processing of curbside recyclables through an initial 3-year contract managed by Metropolitan Waste and Resource Recovery Group with Polytrade operations, including any required and approved extensions from 1st of July 2022 or sooner by mutual agreement with the contractor at an estimated amount of $1.9 million per annum, providing annual savings of more than $500,000. And 2, delegate authority to the Chief Executive Officer to finalise negotiations and sign relevant documentation and contracts related to the above resolution.
Thank you, Councillor Kowalczyk. May I have a seconder, please? Councillor Ross. Thank you. I'll move to the mover to speak, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Ross, for your second. This work is a combined collaborative effort with Council, the Metropolitan Waste and Resource Recovery Group and some other participating councils. It's an example of what our teams do behind the scenes to ensure we have great services at the best price. One of the factors that made this option available is the introduction of a new provider into the Victorian recycling sector. This is welcomed by Council, and we look forward to working with them to ensure they provide sustainable end market opportunities and partnerships for our recycling material. More players are a good thing for a sector that has struggled over recent years. As Victoria adapts to changes in legislation, such as banning exports of certain materials, we need to seek new local recycling opportunities, and this company will assist with this transition as they work interstate and have business relationships there. Locking in this new arrangement for the medium term will help us to focus on the upcoming Recycling Victoria reforms. It'll mean we're better placed to work with the state government when they introduce a container deposit scheme, future glass collections that will be required for Cardinia, and the implementation of a new waste authority for Victoria. There is a lot to do in this space, but our team is ready and looking forward to do it. This new contract will result in savings of approximately $500,000 per year. That's a big win for our ratepayers. We have been persistent with pursuing these savings opportunities, and this will assist us in keeping our garbage charge increases to a minimum. Moving away from the contract details that I've just mentioned, I want to highlight that it's more important than ever to recycle correctly. We had some good results from our recent campaign to let the community know that plastic bags and wrappers aren't allowed in their recycling bins. Whilst we did see a reduction there, we do need to see a reduction on contamination overall, including general waste being placed in recycling bins. Just before I finish up, Deputy Mayor, I just want to give my thanks to Mr Johansson and Jackie Kelly for the work they do in ensuring Cardinia is well positioned in what is an evolving and increasingly complex space. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kowaczyk. I'll go to the seconder to speak, please. Councillor Ross.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Kowaczyk. This is a really interesting stable that Council does, picking up rubbish and recycling. I must say, we had a massive turnaround a few years ago when, believe it or not, we were one of the only areas in Australia, or states in Melbourne, that people used to come and purchase our recycling and pick it up and pay us for the privilege of driving their trucks here, picking it up, and they would pay us tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. When China decided not to take waste, recycled waste, which was contaminated, what they actually did was, instead of taking contaminated waste that was, say, 70% clean or 75% clean, they increased it to 90% clean, and no one cleaned up recyclable waste to that level. So therefore it closed so many people out of the market. So we had a problem in Victoria where we were paid to have it picked up. Oh, they would pay us to pick it up, where we had to start paying for it, and it put the whole industry under pressure. And a council like ours went from receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars to having to pay literally millions of dollars for someone to come and pick it up. And you got nothing more for your service than what you were getting before, except it was just a huge turnaround and impost on council. It's great to see that other traders have come into the market to make it more economic to pick it up. It's great to see that they've come up with a deal that saves ratepayers $500,000 a year potentially. But I would say to ratepayers that during the pandemic, some people got a bit disillusioned with everything, and some areas, particularly councils, I know other ones, have had a huge increase in the contamination in their recyclable, where people just didn't care anymore. That actually comes at a cost, because when you find contaminated recycled waste, it all goes to landfill. They don't sort it out and say a bit of this and a bit of that, it goes. So it's our duty and responsibility to do it as clean as we can, and that saves you money. So if we can do it at a really high level of looking after our waste and putting it into the right streams, we can even save more than $500,000, because there will be a lot of penalties that you incur if you have a certain amount of contamination. Anyway, I see this as a really good thing. I think it's great that we've got a contract, and anything that saves you $500,000 a year has got to be a good thing. And as we've heard lately, that you can do so many more things with waste. And in fact, I don't think it should be called waste, because waste it gives you a sense of it's just dirty, it's no good, and you can just chuck it anywhere and it doesn't mean anything. It's actually an asset that we have. And it's good to think of it as an asset that can be turned into something else, whether it be roads. Anyway, I can go on about waste. Waste tragic. Anyway, thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. I think we all appreciate your passion here. Are there any other speakers? Councillor Cameron, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to say that your soft plastics, as you alluded to in your comments, Councillor Kowalczyk, can actually be left at Coles supermarkets. If you put it into a bag, they've got big waste bins at the checkouts, and you just put your soft plastics into that, and that's them done and dusted. So very simple. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Any further speakers? Councillor Ryan.
Thank you. Through you, Deputy Mayor. I'm in support of Council's recommendation on this. I think it's a great incentive, but also sustainable for our community. And I just wanted to add, just on the list of what the other councillors have pointed out, that some of the things that recycle products can be created by. Walkways can be created by recycled products. Bench seats within parks and other environments. Play equipment. Lego is now been known to be recycled from recyclable glass and plastics. Decking on patios and railing on patios and stairways. So they're just a few on the list. So I just really wanted to add to that because I don't think our community really realises that we can use and utilise this to the extent this is our future, that we need to be very, very keen on cleaning up, but also recyclable, that we can put back into the community and have the usable, sustainable environment. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Any other speakers? Okay, we'll go back to the mover to sum up. Thank you, Councillor Kowalczyk.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I note that this motion is specifically about a recycling contract, but I do want to thank my fellow councillors for their comments, highlighting how important recycling is, but also recycling the right way. I think any time we can shift the conversation and inform the public around recycling the right way, I think it's a good thing. So thank you everyone for your comments tonight. A number of factors, including advice from the state government, as well as the merger of Polytrade and Regroup, has provided the opportunity to renegotiate the contract term and pricing arrangements for our curbside recyclable material. This will provide continuity of service in a challenging and uncertain environment. I ask that Council approve the novation, extension and pricing contract for contract 19/35 for the processing of curbside recyclables through an initial 3-year contract managed by Metropolitan Waste and Resource Recovery Group with Polytrade operations, including any required and improved extensions from 1st of July 2022 or sooner by mutual agreement with the contractor at an estimated amount of $1.9 million per annum, providing annual savings of more than $500,000, and delegate authority to the CEO to finalise negotiations and sign relevant documentation and contracts to facilitate this. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kowalczyk. So I will ask all those in favour to raise their hands. All against? Thank you. I declare that carried. So that concludes discussion of the items withdrawn tonight. Are there any other matters listed in the agenda that you also wish to debate? If not, can I have a mover to adopt the officer's recommendations for the remaining items? Thank you, Councillor Cameron, and a seconder, Councillor Ryan. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Thank you. We'll now move on to Councillor Reports. Do we have any councillors tonight with any matters to report? Councillor Ryan, thank you.
Button won't work. Through you, Deputy Mayor. Just short and sweet. I visited U3A just to see how they're going since COVID, and they're doing really, really well, and the numbers are starting to pick up again, which is really great to see. So there's some new courses happening, so I'll look forward to seeing what they'll add to their list. I think one of them's cooking, so I'd be quite interested in learning some more new recipes. And I also visited in South Yarra. I went to an opening of a mental health adult clinic, and I was really quite taken in by how they've structured it, because it has education set up. It also has support systems in place for the patrons that need that support. But it's also got their own space too, where they can sit and chill out and have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. And if they feel like talking to someone there, the clinicians, they've got that opportunity. But if they feel like just being around and feeling safe, then it's a safe environment. So I was quite taken in by there. So I'll be going back there just to see in 6 months how they've established further down the line. So it's something that we've talked about within our community. So I will keep a very sharp eye on what's going on there. And I also went to a night out, and it was called Dance With Me But Don't Sit On Me. And it was people in wheelchairs doing barn dance, and you know, it was really quite amazing. Just the you know, I got tied up because I was walking, so people in wheelchairs, all of a sudden they grabbed your arm and next minute you're around in the wheelchair. So I could see what they meant by, you know, you could fall over and sit on the seats that at the side there. But there's so much that people with disabilities can do, and a lot of these patrons were amputees and double amputees, and I've worked with amputees over many years at Frankston Rehab, and it's just their enthusiasm, their zest for life, and they don't like the fact that sometimes people see them as a victim, and they don't like being called that poor person because they've got a disability. They enhance their disability to show people that they are still able to do a lot of things, but it's just modified. So that's been my last couple of weeks, getting out there with the community and outer communities. So thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Do we have any other councillors with any matters to report? Councillor Kowalczyk.
Thank you. I'll be brief. I know we've got other councillors who want to speak, but I just want to mention the Harold Ball 2022 launch at the Pakenham RSL, which I attended with my fellow councillor, Councillor Graham Moore. Council is a proud sponsor of this event, but one of the things that came out of that, Graham, you'll remember this, is that they wanted more local schools to get involved. So I just want to put the call out to local schools to get in touch, just to get around that award. I know Pakenham High has been doing their bit, but other local schools need to get back involved, and obviously it's been impacted by COVID, but they are looking for more students to apply for that. So please, local schools, if you can. Also, just want to quickly mention I had a couple of meetings this past month and also today with the Salvation Army and also South East Community Link SECL, just regarding the financial support services and emergency relief that they offer within our Shire. So just to call out that if you are doing it tough out there, please get in touch with our local council. We have a vast network of support services available, whether that be in response to domestic violence or storms and floods or debt or just emergency relief. Please reach out to council because, the officers here do great work in partnership with a number of local organisations, and we'd be more than happy to put you in touch with assistance. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Kowalczyk. Do I have any other councillors who would have matters to report? Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Chair. Just a few things that I've been involved with recently, gone to. One, I hope I'm not jumping into the area of Councillor Catchment, but the Harewood Heritage Festival, where we attended, both as councillors, on the 3rd of this month, only a weekend ago. It was fantastic. What a great event that is. The festival is used to be what they call the Scots on the Swamps, was it called once upon a time. It was a fun day out to go to, and I recommend people go to this once a year. It's a really beautiful place, the Harewood property, right next to the Tooradin Airport. It's right on the outside boundary of Cardinia Shire. and it's run by the Cougarup Regional Health Auxiliary. Mainly, and of course the Cougarup Lions and the Cougarup CWA do a great job there, so it's a really great event to go to. So it was really good to share the stage with my fellow councillor, Councillor Cameron. The business breakfasts are back on, which is really great to see. The networking of our local businesses with councillors. We were there the other day, Councillor Cameron and myself, and Councillor Davies. We're at the breakfast with the Mayor. So it was really good, and the guest speaker was fantastic. Spoke about employing particularly people with disabilities and in those sort of veins, and attracting our local businesses to take on that offer. So really a great morning we had together. The only other one we went to, which was last Sunday, was the 25-year anniversary of the Cannibal Creek Land Care Group at Gumby World. We went to. We weren't on the rides, by the way, let me tell you. But we're in the function centre. I would have sooner been on the rides, I think. But they had a launch of a publication there of 25 years of what they've done, of improvements of our precious fauna and flora over a large area. So most of the land care groups of that area were there to celebrate this launch of this booklet, and 25 years is a long time for this wonderful group of people. And I hope that in the future they'll be able to still keep going on, with younger people maybe getting involved with this land care groups, because they do a lot of great work in that's probably not recognised in a lot of ways. But what they do for pest control, just the whole package of land care within our Shire, I don't know what our Shire would look like without the land care groups volunteering to do such a fantastic job. But it was really nice to be there representing our council on Sunday. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Are there any other councillors that have any matters to report? Thank you. Councillor Ross.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'd like to report something, and it's probably a bit to do with council, but more to do with the lifestyle of residents that we have. Yesterday, I played in first game of the season in football with Beaconsfield and the Masters football, and I must say it's really exciting to see all of our ovals being used, all of our facilities being used, people getting excited, just getting out there, whether it was the cricket season, the football season, the basketball season. I know my son's doing work at the moment for the sound and lighting for Calisthenics Victoria, and the amount of kids getting out there now and doing calisthenics and not having to wear masks inside and being able to bring people along to watch the sports that they play as well is really exciting. And I just think for all the hundreds of millions of dollars council has invested in these spaces, one of the saddest things I saw was during the pandemic that we really couldn't use them to the fullness that they were created. And it's just great to see people excited again, getting outside. I think it's wonderful our weather that we've had down here too. We look at other parts of Australia where they just can't get outside, and we feel really sad for those councils that are just constantly having to clean up and do those things. We've experienced that in our time ourselves here, but fortunately at the moment we've got some really good weather. People are getting outside and using the facilities, which is great. And we just have in Cardinia Shire, I believe for an interface council, we are number one in this area. We are really, really good. We build quality things. We upgrade to a quality standard, and our residents really enjoy it. And I know they're very appreciative too. So anyway, it's just a report on observations that I've made and getting out there and doing things myself. I just think it's a really, really exciting time. I feel really happy that people can go and use these things. And I look forward to seeing even more things get up and running. I think one of the saddest things was Park Run goes just about past my house. And for a couple of years, they were just muted the whole time. They couldn't run, they couldn't wear masks, they couldn't do anything. I noticed council fixed up the whole pathway the other day and basically went through and ground all the concrete down and made sure it was all flat again so no one would, when the trees lift things up and down on footpaths. So anyway, I just think that's really exciting. It's great to see people out and about, and I just sincerely hope that we can keep going in this manner. We can all meet in person. People can come along to our meetings as well, which is excellent, and we'll get back to some sort of normality. Anyway, thank you, Mayor, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ross. Are there any other councillors? Thank you. Councillor Owen.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just following up from Councillor Ross's comments about our local sport. It's great to see finals occur the last few weeks, including cricket and other sports. But on the weekend, in Pakenham at Cardinia Life, we had the basketball grand finals, and it was great to see that stadium jam-packed with excited young people and families. It was packed. You couldn't find a car park anywhere near the place, but it was just great. Following your comments, Councillor Ross, just to see young people making it to the grand final, participating. We had a mixed emotions with our family. One son won their grand final, the other one lost, but it was great to see them there and Cardinia Life being utilised. And I just want to flag, Council is currently engaging with the community regarding Cardinia Life and its future and what's needed going forward. So please, residents, please get yourself involved in that engagement. On the 1st of April, I attended the first annual presentation of South East presentation events. It's like a DEB, but it's the modern version of DEB, and I know other councillors have attended South East presentation balls, but it was a really great evening. So it's a new business called South East Presentation Events. They've taken up in organising DEBs or presentations for our local community. A lot of schools since COVID, it's just too hard. So this company is 3 mums from St Francis in Beaconsfield. They decided upon themselves to organise DEBs for our community. So it's Antoinette and 2 Mels. They started this company, but it was a really good night, an emotional night, because these kids, it took them 18 months to get to that final night. Severe lockdowns, cancellations of dates, and they finally had their evening. And some actually either in Year 12 or even left high school altogether. So it was great that they could finally finish off their DEB. But young people have it really hard the last 2 years, like everyone else, but particularly young people have had it hard. And it was really great to see them celebrating, their achievements in that presentation. So that was really good. Just a shout out and promotion regarding the Upper Beaconsfield Community Centre. They've got their AGM this coming Wednesday, the 13th of April. A bit of a call for numbers. We really want the community to nominate to be on the committee. There's been some challenges the last month or two regarding just keeping a committee there. They do a great service to the community of particularly Upper Beaconsfield and surrounding townships. They run a fantastic early learning centre. Approximately 50 to 60 young people are involved in this service, which comes under the umbrella of Upper Beaconsfield Community Centre. So we see the departure of Sarah Strickland, the centre manager, but we welcome a new centre manager, Lee Swan. So I look forward to the AGM on Wednesday, and I encourage any interested residents to come along. And finally, on the 3rd of April, we saw the Lakeside Sounds music event in Cardinia. That was a Cardinia Shire initiated event with the Cardinia Cultural Centre. Local artists, along with Josh Pike, who's an ARIA award-winning artist. Local artists Beck Sykes, Mikey Carhill, as well as our very own music residency artists, Brodie O'Halloran, Olivia May and Matt McMahon. They performed. It's the first of hopefully many events. Unfortunately, I couldn't get there, but my wife and daughter made it, and they had a real good ball. They had a great time. But well done to our team at Council who organised that event. Let's hope we see more of these events, supporting our local artists during as we come out of this COVID. But I heard it was a great event. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Any other councillors with matters to report? Oh, yes, Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Chair. May I just add something onto my report, if I may? It's an advert, really, if I'm allowed to do this. I just want to relay on some information about the Country Women's Association remembering Carol Clay. Now, Carol Clay was a great friend of a lot of the councillors here, and a great friend of our community, and did a lot of work in that space. Was the president of the Pakenham branch of the CWA, and sorrowfully disappeared on that camping trip at Dargo. I'm not going to go on about that sad story, that demise. But they're having this walk, which they used to do every year. They're going to do it this year in particular, because Carol Clay herself used to carry a bucket of water in the front of this walk around Lakeside. It's called the Women Walk the World. Just realising that people, or particularly women, go and get water and bring it back to their villages, and recognising the stress that we go through. So I think it's an honourable thing. I suggested that they call it the Carol Clay Walk one day down the track, and they may do. I don't know, but I'm just asking maybe councillors if they would like to. I'll be there, I'm sure, and I'm just asking for if any of the community would like to go and celebrate this, and in remembering Carol Clay on the day. It's on the 29th of April. I'm only saying it now, Chair, if I may, because we won't be able to do this until it's over. And it'd be a bit sad if didn't turn up, because it's a great initiative from the Country Women's Association of Pakenham. So it's on the 29th of April, gathering at the Lakeside Outdoor Auditorium near the Cultural Centre about 10:15 to start the walk. And like I said, they'll have a bucket of water, and the starting time will be around about 10:30. So I look forward to seeing everybody there. And thanks for indulging and allowing me to do that, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Moore, for adding that important event, and I'd just like to thank all councillors for your reports. It's great to hear what we've all been doing. Okay, so we'll now move on to presentation of petitions. I actually have a petition to table from the Officer Tennis Club requesting that Council consider accessibility upgrades to their facilities. So this petition will lay on the table for consideration at next month's Council meeting. Just a little bit of background, there's a petition here for just under 100 people. For many wheelchair and other mobility aid users, Officer Tennis Club is just simply not accessible. And so they've focused in on the words of our legend, Australian tennis legend Dylan Alcott, who says, "It's time to change perceptions so people with disability live the lives that they deserve to live. We need to have a greater representation of people with a disability absolutely everywhere. And Officer Tennis Club is dedicated to being a part of that as well." And I completely agree. There's also the current infrastructure is also crippling the female attendance rates in the tennis club. There are no showers, there's no changing space, and so many players who come to the club from school or work are quickly changing in the car, or after a competition are going home sweaty. There's nowhere to freshen up after. So I'm very proud of them for getting this petition together, and I support it, and I'd just like to lay that on the table for next month's meeting. Thank you. Were there any other petitions? No? Awesome, thanks. Okay, so tonight our next item is notices of motion, which there are none. So we'll move on to community question time. We do not have any community questions for consideration, so we'll continue moving on. So that concludes tonight's meeting. So I thank you for your interest, and I would like to thank my fellow councillors for a great meeting tonight. Thank you. And to those in the gallery for your attendance, and to anyone watching online, thank you for your interest in our meeting tonight. And I now declare this meeting closed.